It's the 202.
It's the 202. It's the 202.
It's the 202.
This is how we do when we party. It's the 202.
It's the 202.
Hello, everyone. Coming up on the 202, they say D.C. is a global city, right? But how often do we get to meet many of our international neighbors? Well, today, there's someone to know on Embassy Row.
Plus, in the Year of the Woman, some female-led bands like Champion Sound Music are making the DMV listen up. And it's all right here on the 202.
Ready?
And welcome to the 202. I'm Furman Patterson here with my lovely co-host, Miss Michelle Wright.
Thank you, Mr. Furman. And over on the turntables is today's guest DJ for the day, DJ Life. Did you know that D.C. is host to nearly 180 diplomatic missions? That's a whole lot of embassies and international neighbors inside of them.
Well, today, Michelle and I are making some new friends on Embassy Row, and one of them is Ambassador Daniel Gutierrez from the Embassy of Belize. Thank you so much for stopping by to talk with us.
Welcome.
Thank you, Furman and Michelle. It is indeed an honor to be here in the 202 with you all.
It is a pleasure to meet you. Tell us all about Belize, for those that don't know where it is located actually.
Absolutely. I'll tell you, Belize is, it's about an hour and 45-minute flight time from Miami. It is the only English-speaking country in Central America. We got our independence from the UK in about 1981, so it's a fairly new country. There are perhaps more Belizeans living in LA than in the biggest city in Belize. We have we fought alongside America in World War II. We have any number of students here in the United States. We have a lot of American investors down in Belize. Belize has the second longest barrier reef in the world. So we call Belize the land behind the Great Barrier Reef of the Americas. So in essence, there's a lot to say about Belize. Where do we start?
Well, already it sounds like a paradise.
Yeah.
I think I heard somewhere that the population is very, very diverse in Belize. Is that so? And explain how.
That is true. Belize is an immigrant country. A lot like the United States, Belizeans can trace their roots to many, many different places. There are Belizeans that came in the mid-1600s that were, pirates that settled in the Bay of Honduras. There are Belizeans who came whose great-great-great-grandparents came as slaves. There are Belizeans who came from the south of Mexico during the War of the Races, which is where my people came from. There are Belizeans who came during the Cold War and the wars in Central America, from El Salvador, from Guatemala, from Honduras. There are Belizeans of German descent, of Chinese descent, of Indian descent. So, and of course, the original Maya, and I think many people have heard of the great Mayan civilization. There are people who survived the decline of the Mayan civilization, and there are many Maya in Belize today. So there are Belizeans from all walks of life. It is indeed a tapestry, and it is one of the things that we highlight with Belize, because when you go into a community, you're not sure what you're going to run up against. People can come from anywhere, and you can hear any number of different languages in any number of different places.
I love hearing you use that word tapestry. It made it all come to life for me. It made it more vivid. Is there anything, or what are the things indicative to Belize, like foods and things like that? Anything especially indicative to Belize?
I suppose, Michelle, like many of the countries in the Caribbean, rice and beans is special to us. I know this is not unique to Belize, but certainly that makes, I'll tell you something about Belize that's unique. We are a Caribbean nation in the sense that our culture, I grew up listening to Bob Marley, and I can go on and on. We're an English-speaking Caribbean nation in the heart of Central America. So it provides for the strange land. But now that you've asked, certainly we have food influences from the region. Some of our food influences from the northern part of the country are from Mexico. Some of our food influences obviously in the Chinese community, but beyond, are because of the immigrants that came to Belize. Lebanese immigrants came to Belize, and they brought their food influences. So we have influences from wherever the immigrants came. And as you know, in America, that's a wide brush.
Yeah.
So we do have many, many different places. Anybody who's in the D.C. area and is interested in learning more about D.C., I want to say this up front, and visiting Belize or investing in Belize, we certainly do encourage them to call the Embassy of Belize, and we'd be more than willing to help them out in terms of pointing them in the way.
Now, Michelle and I had the opportunity to invite you here to talk about Belize and to find out more about it, but you also invite people to the Embassy of Belize to find out more about your country, and I think it's part of a program called Passport D.C., but tell us how you're involved in that.
Well, the Embassy of Belize has been, and it's Passport D.C. is put on by the city of Washington, but Passport D.C. is something that the Embassy of Belize has participated in for some time now. And we are happy to say that what we create at the Embassy of Belize is a whole ambiance. And when you go there, you feel Belize. We bring music, the Belizean food is made available, Belizean drink is made available. Belize is, like I said, it's a Caribbean country. We make, in the Caribbean, we make the best rums in the world.
Oh, yeah.
And when you come to the Belize Embassy for Passport DC, you're sure to run into some of those. So we encourage people to come for Passport DC. It is an excellent opportunity to meet Belizeans, but also to feel the Belizean culture and the Belizean vibe, which I promise you is unique.
Well, I can tell from your vibe, you have so much energy and passion for what you're talking about. You sold me.
Good. Well,
Can I come?
You are absolutely welcome. Yeah.
Well, it's a date. Thank you so
Absolutely.
much for coming.
Definitely.
We appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right.
Thanks for having
Ambassador
me.
Gutierrez.
Yes.
All right, coming up, our next guest will call the Champion Sound Band. You know what that means.
It means with a name like that, they can't help but win you over with their music. Stay right where you are, because we will be right back.
It's the 202. It's the 202.
It's the 202. It's the 202.
It's the 202.
Capital city. Everybody hustling. 70% trap work for the government. They got us drunk, really with all customers. Make 6 figures, still student loan struggle. Still sick and bus boys fight.
Welcome back to the 202. On the DMV music scene, it's not unusual to see all-female go-go bands like Belladonna and bands fronted by female singers like Pebble to Pearl.
And Champion Sound Band, headed up by singer-songwriter Anastasia Antoinette, is another example of a boss woman and a band making beautiful music together.
Yes.
Thank you so much for stopping by, you and the band.
Yes.
Thank you. Thanks for having us.
Been looking forward to this.
Thank you.
Yes. So the first thing we want to know is, how did Anastasia and the band get together?
Pretty organically. I met Kareem first, our keyboardist, and he had a studio situation in his house, and they had just lost their former lead singer, Edie Blue, who's been on the show with you guys before. And yeah, it kind of just fit and worked, and they're just all great guys and great to be around. So we're friends, we're family now.
So what were you doing? Singing around town, or? When did you get
Beginning
into
to
music?
songwrite, I always say I have kind of the traditional story of I grew up singing in church. My dad's a pastor, he also sings, but it was sort of this mix of gospel and spiritual with Prince and George Clinton. So
that's
I listened to a lot of that growing up. Yeah, so I've been singing all my life.
So were you like the little girl in church, bobbing the shoulders and just can't wait to belt it out?
You know, actually, I enjoyed singing, but I wasn't the kind of in front of your face, in front of your camera kind of person growing up. I started off as a writer, and so I enjoyed writing, and I enjoyed singing too. But yeah, definitely growing into the performance aspect.
Now that's what I want to know about your writing. When did you know that what you were putting down on paper could actually be transformed into a song?
So I grew up writing short stories and poems, and for a while, even though I had this passion for music, I didn't really see the connection. I was like, well, this is a poem and this is not a song, and I can't songwrite because they're not the same thing. And I think probably sometime in high school, later on there, I realized that can just put it to music and it doesn't all have to rhyme, and just kind of figuring it out, still figuring it out.
Mm-hmm.
Michelle and I are always curious about bands in DC and performers. Everyone has a day job, sometimes not, but give us an idea of Champion Sound Band and who does what and where.
Yeah, fortunately, I'd say half of these guys are full-time musicians in some form or fashion, right? In DC, with our very ever-growing creative community. So Glenn, also known as Gudo, is a full-time DJ.
Gudo.
And he is increasingly becoming bi-coastal, doing a lot of DC, LA, back and forth. John Amon is also a phenomenal DJ. You can catch either of these guys at like Brixton or 18th Street Lounge.
So you mean this kind of DJ?
Yeah. And they spin vinyl. It's amazing.
All right.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Jimmy Juice over here.
Jimmy Juice.
I love these names.
Right?
What's Jimmy Juice do?
Jimmy loves the kids. Jimmy does a lot of work with kids, but he also is heavy into video art and video projections. He actually just had a performance last night at the Kennedy Center at the Millennium Stage, where he did all of the video projections.
Wow.
with
Go
a group.
Jimmy Juice.
Whoa.
And Kareem here is in production. He's also a DJ and is an amazing producer and keyboardist.
Kareem.
And Alex, aside from being our phenomenal guitarist, is also in marketing and social media strategy and experiential marketing.
Well, you know what, you guys feel like back in, I think maybe it was the late 80s, there was something called the UK invasion to America. And you had groups like Soul to Soul, and they were like a complete, they called themselves a sound system. You guys sound like a sound system. You got everything you need, you know?
I think so.
Yeah.
Wow.
You know, one of the things too in DC is very focused on the creative arts, the creative economy. Tell us, what kind of things can the city do more to showcase people like you?
I think space is a huge thing for artists, just being able to have a space not only to perform, but to collaborate on ideas. There's an amazing space that's come about in the last 9 months to a year, Uptown Arts House. That's a great hub for things like that. But with the rising cost of living, it sometimes pushes artists out of the city, and so then it's hard to come together to create and collaborate. So I think making more spaces available, like you guys do at the 202, to kind of promote and being able to play and collaborate is really important.
So we need a space as they continue to create their space in this music world.
Yes.
I love what you guys are doing. I love hearing everything.
Yeah. And
Thank you.
we want to hear some stuff, so
Yeah.
stand by.
All right, coming up, more with the band that describes itself as a community of like-minded musicians in the DMV.
So get ready, because the Champion Sound Band is about to kick it on our soundstage when the 202 returns.
It's the 202. It's the 202.
It's the 202. It's the 202.
It's the 202.
Don't bump to this.
And welcome back to the 202. The Champion Sound Band says that for them, it's all about creating experiences geared towards empowerment and positivity.
And as they inspire each other in music and life, they hope to inspire us.
ask but one thing, forever's much more. Whatever you say, whatever you choose, follow your heart and always be true. Dearly devoted, I'm open and hoping these notions get noticed by you. With reservations, I'm patiently waiting, and I just don't know what to do. In spite of my plans, it's all in your hands, and somewhere just out of the blue, 3 stars, 2 moons, halfway through June, this feeling inside of me grew.
Fantastic.
Awesome. You guys are great.
Champion Sound Band.
Yes. Yes.
Well, what a great show today. Thanks to Ambassador Gutierrez and the Champion Sound Band. And of course, my co-host, Michelle Wright.
And thanks to DJ Life and to all of you for watching. Furman and I will see you again next time on the 202. But don't forget, check out episodes of the 202 on DC Radio. That's 96.3 HD4 and at dcradio.gov.
This the 202. This the 202. 202. This is how we do when we party in the 202. Hey. Home of that good live music. Come on. Live on set, live audience approves it. The best hosts that don't get no tighter. Furman and Michelle can't get no brighter. Taxation, no representation. But the 202 reppin' for the capital nation. So from 703 to the 301. Yeah, we all come to have some fun. It's the 202. It's the 202. This the 202. It's the 202. This is how we do when we party in the 202. Yeah, it's the 202. Yeah. This the 202. This the 202. It's the 202. Yeah. This the 202. This the 202. It's the 202. This is how we do when we party in the 202. It's the 202. It's the 202.